This is FilmDirt. Fight! God, I miss the 90s. Welcome to FilmDirt, everyone. Can you tell I love that soundtrack? Unfortunately, it's not part of Mortal Kombat 2021, although it is in one scene. Only briefly, but we'll come to that. This new Mortal Kombat installment is its own thing and has very little in common with the 90s movies. I feel they've gone in quite heavy as an adaptation of the game, which was always risky because you risk alienating people that are not familiar. But you have to say, Mortal Kombat is world famous pop culture in a pretty big way. You feel even casual audiences would be very familiar now with, let's say, Liu Kang and the hatred between Scorpion and Sub-Zero. So director Simon McQuoid, he had a lot of wiggle room here to play in. Last week when I revisited the 90s movies, I mentioned how I thought the series peaked at Mortal Kombat 2. There was a nice small core group of characters, their backstories were engaging, and then as we got to the 3D games, I felt there was a lot of fluff and a few themes kind of lost focus, maybe spread a bit thinly. But what an astonishing series. It's really standing the test of time and the games are as popular as ever. And it's quite interesting when you compare this film with the 1995 original movie. I felt that one was more catered to the casual audience member, but this one does as well, and it also focuses on fans of the game. They put a lot of the additional characters in here, with a new leading character, Cole Young, played by Louis Tan, and that's curious for me. See, the character is clearly the protagonist, he's the one asking questions, and although played very well, I'm kind of thinking the character almost doesn't fit. It just seems he's there solely to ask the questions. In the 95 movie, that protagonist, you could say, was Johnny Cage. But I didn't only prefer that version because he was already part of the games. I just felt that character was a lot more interesting than Cole Young. I think Lyndon Ashby did a fantastic job and got the right amount of personality that we saw briefly in the game series. Whereas Cole Young didn't have so much interesting material. I mean, he had the dragon mark on him, but he had trouble winning a bare-knuckle fight for cash, let alone suddenly being good enough to fight in Mortal Kombat to change the fate of the world. I just feel we could have had Johnny Cage in that role again, but maybe you could say it would be too similar to the games and also the 95 film. So this is their way of being a little different, and maybe having a human, non-magical character as the protagonist here. In fact, Kano is kind of taking the Johnny Cage role that is always wisecracking throughout the film, maybe a little bit too much in places, but it really did amuse me. As for the other characters, I think they're all great. Some really good special effects here as well, some really good acting. Kano, Liu Kang, Sub-Zero and Scorpion, even the CG Goro character, I think it's all realised really well on film. I think this is a really good movie, and I'm really glad we're going to see a Mortal Kombat 2. It was supposed to be out now originally in 2025, but it's been pushed back almost a year. So instead, I thought I'd revisit this movie, and it really just reminds me how good it is. I have to say specifically, the acting in the Sub-Zero versus Scorpion fight, I think that was so good. It really takes this film to a whole new level. Pretty much what we were waiting for, wasn't it? And that's the scene where we see excerpts of the original theme tune, with Scorpion finally saying his trademark "Get over here." What a fantastic moment. Full credit to the actors. Sub-Zero was rightly cold and calculating. Scorpion, played by the brilliant Hiroyuki Sanada, seen him in so many films, and he was equally good here. One small issue though, I thought Sub-Zero's sword thing, ice dagger, looked a little bit weak, and he reproduced it in ice a few times, and I think it should have been a much more solid weapon. Make it like Excalibur, where it's a huge sword very meaty looking, or like a lightsaber. But the dagger he had just looked a little bit weak against Scorpion's katana. But that didn't ruin the moment too much. I just felt it looked a little bit odd. Overall, I can see there's very few negatives. I mentioned the Cole Young character. I just felt needed a little bit more meat to that character. It was kind of redundant, really. And it did go in quite heavy with the game story. But in turn, they did go in heavy with the blood feature. This is a gory movie, especially with some of the fatalities. Of course, we're seeing a lot with Kano and the Nitara fatality. Also, Jax losing his arms. All really good blood, gory effects. All designed really well. I can see why fans of the game were happy with this. We did see animalities again, and I'm not going to criticise the film too much about anything like that or anything cartoony. We can forgive a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. It is, after all, an adaptation of an arcade game. So it's best to just let yourself be consumed into this world and take what we're given here. And just like the earlier Mortal Kombat films and also Street Fighter as well, you could say, you have to let a lot go. So I do think we're seeing just the right amount of game lore and also movie sensibilities for the casual audience member that may only loosely know about Mortal Kombat. They've given us everything we need here. All the fights here, I think, are all performed and brought to the screen superbly. Again, I feel this is a great movie. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. And it is the same score I gave the 95 movie. I can't choose my favourite between them. I did find that a lot of fun. So where do we go from here? We're already seeing that Mortal Kombat 2 will have Johnny Cage, played by Karl Urban. I think that's a great piece of casting. I think he's got the right amount of personality needed. He's got his Judge Dredd voice according to the trailer, but I think he'll easily bring that character we know from the games to the screen. I'll definitely be in that line when it's released. So thank you very much for joining me for this look back at Mortal Kombat, the 2021 film. You know the drill, like and subscribe. I'll speak to you again soon. All the best for now, and take care.
FilmDirt wins.